Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kano Tryharding Modern. I'm going to do something today that I have never done before, and that is play Jund. For those of you that don't know what Jund is, historically, Jund was a deck that was just a pile of money to play, where it was obviously Jund colored, and it was just a pile of the best cards in the format that happened to have some incidental synergies, and it was just like a heavy, grindy mid-range deck. And for the longest time, I remember when I first started playing Modern, between Jund and Twin, they were considered like the best decks, just from memory. Now, there's not a lot that is still shared between like what Jund was then and it is now, other than like parts of the mana base and like Lily's Hand Hate Bolt. The rest of the deck, I mean, even Bloodbraid was banned for a little bit. The rest of the deck was, I guess there's more than I was originally considering, because we do have like Tarmogoyf and stuff. And Tarmogoyf has just been generically the best green dude in Modern for a very long time. But yeah, I've never played Jund. I've only played against it about 1,000,000 times, though. So hopefully using that knowledge will be enough for me to do something with it in a league. Because it tends to try and do stuff the way that I try and play decks when I play Magic, which is do something powerful and curve out. And that's supposed to be what Jund does. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to see if my knowledge applies or if I'm just terrible at it. And I'll see you guys in round one. Alrighty, round one will be on the draw. And we've got 3 lands, a push, a Goyf, a Pyromancer, and a Kroxa. I think this is a keep. I think I would prefer to have started with a Thoughtseize, but we're against some kind of Yorion deck. If this is a Mana Dork, I will push it. It is. Alright. So let's start by getting a... Yeah, let's get an Overgrown Tomb. And just push this guy off a cliff, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Porter. Opponent cracks Windswept Heath, gets a Temple Garden. Plays a Utopia Sprawl on blue, and passes. Now we have the option of playing Kroxa or playing Goyf, and technically I could Inquisition. I think I'm going to fetch up a Blood Crypt and play Goyf. Oop. Have to tap for green. It is a green card. Pass the turn. So next turn we can either Seasoned Pyromancer, or we can Kroxa plus Inquisition. Probably in the other order. I think I might Inquisition before Kroxa. I don't know which is better, actually. That's something I should know if I'm going to play this deck. If I want to play Seasoned Pyromancer, I have to fetch Stomping Ground. But it plays a Plains. Skyclave Apparition. Exiling Tarmogoyf. Alright. We untap, we get Lily. Lily Downtick is really tempting. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for the Liliana Downtick. Okay, we get a token. Pass the turn. The reason I did this is because I should be able to almost empty my opponent's hand now. Okay, they play Misty, they fetch... Hope they don't find a red source and bring to light, that would be bad. There's a Stomping Ground, untapped. They seal a fire to kill Lily, and play an Enigmatic Incarnation. Alright. So they could sack Utopia Sprawl or Omen, and go tutor up something. They sack Omen, get Renegade Rallier, get back Omen. Fair. Let's see. We untap Maelstrom Pulse. Maelstrom Pulse Enigmatic Incarnation might be important, because this is a really powerful, repeatable value engine. I'm going to start by attacking. And we're going to Pulse Enigmatic Incarnation. Play Raging Ravine, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a land. Cracks Prismatic Vista. Gets a forest. They play another Utopia Sprawl, naming white. 3 mana, they play Night of Autumn. You're going to make Night of Autumn bigger. Then they put Yorion into their hand. So we can at least Kroxa away Yorion. We're taking 3. Untap, we draw Renin 6. Play Renin 6. Pick up a Verdant Catacombs. Play Kroxa. Make them discard Yorion. Sack Kroxa. Play a Verdant Catacombs, pass the turn. I took a little bit too much damage early on off of my lands. I think that was just me being greedy. I probably should have fetched a basic or two, and we would be in a lot better place if I did. Okay, opponent cracks Omen on their upkeep. Okay. Then they draw a card. They go to combat. If they attack in such a way that they're going to kill Renin 6, I will still block the Renegade Rallier. If they're just attacking us, I think I am going to chump. Okay. So I'm going to trade. Hopefully this does not put me in bolt range. We go to 4. Crack Verdant. Get an Overgrown Tomb tapped. We untap. Draw Bloodstained Mire. Start with an Inquisition, take Spreading Seas, play Bloodstained Mire, get back Kroxa, force our opponent to lose life, and then we'll pick up a land, pass the turn. I don't want to crack this Bloodstained Mire because they are playing Seal of Fire, so there's a decent chance that they have another Seal of Fire more than they have a Bolt. So, obviously 3 and 2 life are not the same versus this opponent. Opponent goes to combat, attacks. Well, I've got a block. Okay, opponent has Goblin Crater Maker, and they have to use that to kill Kroxa. Alright, we untap. We draw another Renin 6. Let me think here. I can't play Seasoned Pyromancer and attack with Raging Ravine. So I think I just attack with Raging Ravine? I mean, Seasoned Pyromancer could draw me 2 Lightning Bolts, I guess, but... And it does make an additional... Oh, it does make a blocker if my opponent were to have a haste creature. Let's just hit him with the land. Go to... Oh, you know what? I could have killed him this turn. I miscalculated. I thought this attacked for 3 and not 4. I could have down-ticked Renin 6, played the other Renin 6, so I actually missed lethal. Well, the good news is if they top deck a Stone Rain, we can live through that. We'll still win, but... Alright, didn't matter. Whoo! Okay, so versus the 5-color deck, I think I want Collective Brutalities and Ashiok. Collective Brutality is important because it can kill a dork and gain additional advantage. Actually, I don't know if I want Collective Brutality because Collective Brutality can't duress away enchantments. I'll take the Deglamour effects, though, and I'm going to cut... Ooh, what do I cut? This is difficult. We're on the draw, so I think I'm going to cut 2 Inquisitions, and I need to cut one other thing for the Ashiok. Could cutting a land be correct? I doubt it. Cut 1 more Inquisition. Try it like this. Alright, no turn 1, but we do have a fetch land and a Renin 6. I don't think I mulligan this, I just think I accept a slightly slow hand. Hopefully I top deck a Bolt or a Push, especially if they lead on a Dork. I mean, our deck strikes me as the kind of deck that I don't want to mulligan that much. You know, if I can avoid it. If I have a remotely playable hand, I'm gonna want all the extra cards I can get. We'll lead on Raging Ravine, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Breeding Pool. 3 mana. Spreading Seas... My Raging Ravine. Okay. I mean, that gets him a cantrip. We draw Kroxa. So, play Verdant Catacombs. I can fetch for a forest of some kind and play Goyf. Can't fetch for an Overgrown Tomb because I already have them. So we'll get a Stomping Ground. Play a pretty anemic-looking Tarmogoyf. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Teferi Time Raveler. Bounces Goyf. Plays a Windswept Heath. We untap and draw Ashiok, which I cannot play yet. So Shock, Overgrown Tomb. Play Renin 6. Ping Teferi. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Windswept Heath for a Raugrin Triome. They untap. So next turn we can play Ashiok, we can play Bloodbraid, or we can even play Kroxa plus Tarmogoyf. I'm gonna place Charming Prince, probably Scry mode. See if they put anything on top. If they do, Ashiok's kind of tempting, but... I mean, we probably just play Bloodbraid because it's going to be... They put both cards on top of their deck. Okay, that's interesting. They play a Wooded Foothills. We untap and draw Fatal Push, which unfortunately if I play Ashiok I cannot play Fatal Push. Pick up Verdant Catacombs. Play Verdant. Fetch a Swamp. And I think we just go Bloodbraid here. Cast Kolaghan's Command. Yeah, force our opponent to discard a card while shock Charming Prince. They discard an Overgrown Tomb. We get a 3-2 with haste. Go to combat. Hit them for 3. They go to 14. That felt pretty good. Opponent casts an Omen of the Sea. They want to draw at least one of the cards they put on top of their deck. They untap. They play another Wooded Foothills. 4 mana, Enigmatic Incarnation. So they may do their whole fetch, get Renegade Rallier, pick up the fetch kind of thing. I mean, they can just Renegade Rallier and pick up an Overgrown Tomb. They'll have Revolt via Enigmatic Incarnation anyway. So we want to get down Ashiok this turn, because if we do, opponent can no longer search their deck with Enigmatic Incarnation. We also want to make sure the land we play is Verdant Catacombs, because we want the Revolt trigger to kill potentially a 3-drop here. Alright, we untap. We draw Bloodstained Mire. Perfect, because with the loss of Wrenn and 6, we can still trigger Revolt and kill the Skyclave Apparition. So play Bloodstained Mire, crack Bloodstained Mire, get a Swamp, Fatal Push. We get our token. Then we play Ashiok. Opponent needs to fetch right now with both of those lands or they're going to lose them. They get a Temple Garden tapped. They get a Forest. Ashiok resolves. We're going to minus to mill ourself and exile our opponent's grave. Alright, go to combat. Hit them for 3. And we're probably just going to keep Ashiok on 4 so that my opponent can't Lightning Bolt if they're playing Lightning Bolt. Opponent plays Lurrus. Has nothing to play with Lurrus. They play Magus of the Moon. Well, at least we have the black sources. Opponent does not sack. We draw a Mountain. So I cannot play Tarmogoyf. I only have 6 mana, so I can't Kroxa and Seasoned Pyromancer. So let's mill ourselves. I was hoping to hit our other Kroxa. Play a Shockland, which is actually just a mountain. And I'm going to play Kroxa this turn, and we'll keep blockers back. Pass the turn. Opponent draws a card. Opponent plays Omen of the Forge. Oh, man. So they can actually sack Omen of the Forge to its own ability and then replay it because of Lurrus. So they can kill our Ashiok here. Then they get an Enigmatic Incarnation trigger. And that should be enough to give them like another blocker or potentially like Grave Hate for our Kroxa, which would be very bad at this juncture. So let's see what they do. They get a Kanoros, Hound of Athreos. So creature cards from graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Alright. We draw Blackleaf Cliffs. Play Blackleaf Cliffs. Go to combat. Attack for 3. That was a pretty sick play by the opponent. We can still get Seasoned Pyromancer tokens at least. Opponent trades off Lurrus. Okay. They go up to 9. I mean, presumably they could just get another Lurrus. I can't imagine they play just one. They untap, they draw. They play a land. They put Yorion into their hand, but they can't play him. Okay, opponent does not attack into the tokens. They sack Omen of the Forge. They get Lurrus. Yep, that's what I thought. Make some Pyromancer tokens. We untap. Draw Bloodbraid, which we can't cast. I think I'm just going to go to game 3. It's not that I can't possibly win from here, it's just that it's going to take forever. Do we want Fulminator? Opponent plays a lot of basics because they're playing Magus of the Moon, and they're willing to fetch them all up, too. So I think the answer is no. I just need to be conscious about getting my basics early if I have to, or if it makes sense. Alright, we'll play first. It's not ideal, but I think versus my opponent's hand it could work. Versus my opponent's deck, I mean, not hand. I have no idea what their hand is. Play Swamp, pass the turn. Hopefully they lead on Birds or Noble. Opponent starts Wooded Foothills. Alright. We untap. Draw Inquisition. Yeah, play Inquisition. Opponent cracks Wooded Foothills. This Veil. Yep. Okay. That's fine. Question is, do we play Forest or do we play Nurturing Peatland? And I think we play Nurturing Peatland. My logic with this is if they have Spreading Seas, they're going to use Spreading Seas on Nurturing Peatland. Now, I could play Forest and they could Spreading Seas the Forest, which would then allow me to play Liliana of the Veil next turn. But the problem is they're also playing Magus of the Moon. And if they're playing Magus of the Moon and they Spreading Seas our Forest, we could just be dead. So I don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is correct play pattern at all, but this is my logic. Opponent plays Windswept Heath, cracks Windswept Heath. For a Hollowed Fountain, here comes the Spreading Seas. I knew it! Alright, Black Source off the top. Let's go. That is not what I asked for. Play a Forest, pass the turn. Guess we'll leave up Deglamour plus Push. Opponent plays a Snow-Covered Plains. They play Teferi. Let's go ahead and Deglamour. Teferi enters the battlefield. Now opponent has to decide between uptick or downtick. Downtick is riskier for them, but we have no red mana. So it's not that risky, actually. Okay, they downtick. We untap. Draw Bloodbraid. Play Lily. Uptick. Discard Croxa. Opponent plays a Forest, upticks Teferi to 2. I guess the nice thing about this is with Enigmatic Incarnation, they have no enchantments they can sack. They play Charming Prince, Scry mode. If we play Bloodbraid, we can attack Teferi, but the problem with that is we can't cast anything we hit off of Bloodbraid because of Teferi. We untap, draw Blackcleave Cliffs. Let's start by casting Push. Play Cliffs. Uptick. I'm going to get rid of my other Fatal Push. Opponent discards Omen of the Sea, pass the turn. We are probably going to just have to attack Teferi. Opponent plays Omen of the Forge, hits Lily. This probably means an Enigmatic Incarnation turn. So hopefully it's not a creature with haste. Actually, if it is an Enigmatic Incarnation turn, they can just get Skyclave Apparition and that will kill Lily. Opponent plays Scavenging Ooze. Eats Croxa. Well, I hope they don't have a path. We draw a Swamp. Force our opponent to sack. Play around Mana Tithe. Cascade, we can't cast. What would we have hidden? Tarmogoyf, that would have been good. Go to combat. Kill Teferi. Alright. Opponent untaps. There's the Skyclave Apparition, taking out Lily. We untap. Draw Thoughtseize. Start by cycling Peatland. Get Kolaghan's Command. Yeah, we'll go ahead and make them discard and kill Skyclave. This allows us to get in for damage this turn, which is why we're doing this. It also gives us a decent sized token to help speed up the clock. Opponent discarded Spreading Seas. Hit them for 3. Opponent goes to 12. They play a land. They play Luris. So they could play Omen of the Sea, Spreading Seas, Charming Prince, Scavenging Ooze. All of those are viable options. They Spreading Seas our red mana. Okay. We untap. We draw Unravel the Ether. Let's go ahead and start Thoughtseize. Teferi, Prismatic Vista. So they have a Prismatic Vista. Go to combat. Attack for 6. They go to 6. I kind of want to unravel that Omen of the Forge, because otherwise they can sack it and replay it. But I also want to unravel this Spreading Seas. I guess there's not really a reason to do that now. I guess it's my only opportunity if I want to prevent them from shooting down Bloodbraid, but potentially the other enchantments they play could be more important to try and hit. Opponent plays Prismatic Vista. Okay, opponent plays Skoos. They go to combat. They attack us for 3, so they gain life. So I'm going to unravel Spreading Seas, because I want access to my red mana. Opponent has 1 unknown card in hand. We untap. Draw Verdant. Go to combat. Attack them for 6. Like, we need to draw some things that aren't lands. And, hopefully very soon. Because my opponent has a repeatable value engine online, and we do not. So they block Bloodbraid. They can eat 2 creatures, which will gain them 2 life. So they're only going to take 1. They're going to come out very ahead on this exchange. Yeah, I think I messed this match up, because I think if I'd played match 2 slightly differently, I could have won, and then I wouldn't have come to game 3. So my opponent's going up to 10, we're going down to 7. They probably just... okay, they play an Omen. They get to Preordain. They go to combat, they hit us for 7 or 8. Okay, we go down to 7. Alright, there goes our token. And I don't think there's anything we can top deck to get out of this situation. Like, maybe some insane Bloodbraid flip could do it. Or like Seasoned Pyromancer into really good cards. Get a Stomping Ground tapped. We untap. And we draw Not That. Cool. Yeah, I think I messed up. Probably could have won that. Sorry, like I said, I don't usually play Jund. It's not that difficult to pilot, I feel, but I think I took the wrong lines in game 2. I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright, round 2. I think I'm going to mulligan this hand just because it's really slow. We are against another Yorion deck. Well, yeah, I guess I'll keep. I'm going to put back Stomping Ground. At least this, in theory, helps us, like, continually thin our deck while getting card advantage, and possibly will let us snipe a dork. It would be much better if we were on a play with a hand like this, but... opponent fetches up a basic Snow Forest into a Utopia Sprawl on red. We draw a Lightning Bolt, play Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn. Doing this to leave up Bolt. Probably going to fetch Stomping Ground if I have to Bolt. Normally I would just play Raging Ravine, but I think I miss out on some opportunity if I do that. A second Utopia Sprawl, this time on white. Wooded Foothills. Okay, I'm not particularly scared of Magus of the Moon because we have Lightning Bolt. So we're going to play Wrenn and 6 this turn. Pick up Bloodstained Mire. Pass the turn. Man, 2 mana Never Miss Your Land Drops feels really good. And there's other text on that card as well. Okay, opponent fetches up a Ketria Triome. So they untap with 5 mana on turn 3. Probably a Bring to Light. That's what it's looking like. Niv Mizzet Reborn. So opponent gets Wrenn and 6, Kaya's Guile, Abrupt Decay, or Assassin's Trophy. Okay. You have no way to kill this Niv Mizzet. This is so bad. Play Bloodstained Mire, crack Bloodstained Mire, get an Overgrown Tomb tapped. Pick up Bloodstained Mire. Pass the turn. Yeah, our hand is just way too slow. I mean, our initial hand would have had pretty much the same problem. So, they attack and kill Wrenn and 6. They play their own Wrenn and 6. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go to game 2. Because we're not doing anything for like 10 years, and my opponent's already resolved a massive threat. So, I'm gonna bring in Fulminator Mage. What do I go down for Fulminator Mage? I don't know if my opponent is also playing the Enigmatic Incarnation build. Probably not. I don't know if Collective Brutality is good. I'm gonna cut a Fatal Push. I'm gonna cut a Fatal Push and a Liliana and bring in 2 Fulminator. We're gonna try it like this. We'll play first. I really wish I had green mana. Yeah, I'm gonna mulligan once. Alright. Let's do this. Gonna put back... I think Tarmogoyf, actually. Tarmogoyf is really good. But Bloodbraid Elf is, in theory, going to be better for us versus our opponent's deck, I think. Opponent starts Windswept Teeth and cracks it. Gets a Forest. Utopia Sprawl. Let's go ahead and get an Overgrown Tomb. Tapped. Utopia Sprawl resolves. Naming blue. We draw a Tarmogoyf, right on time. Let's play Tarmogoyf. Pass the turn. I may just curve Lily. Like, I may just play Lily and then uptick discarding Kroxa. Because that's fine through, like, a... Spreading Seas. Opponent plays a Verdant. Cracks Verdant. For a Temple Garden. They play Teferi. They bounce Goyf. We untap. Draw Verdant. Play Verdant. Fetch a basic Forest. Play Lily. Uptick. Discard Kroxa. Opponent discards an island. They uptick to Fairy. Play an Overgrown Tomb tapped. Pass. We draw a Mountain. Play Mountain. Play Bloodbraid. Okay, cascade into nothing. Go to combat. Kill Teferi. Uptick Lily. Opponent cycles an Indatha Triome. We discard Swamp. Opponent untaps. They play a Pillar of the Perins. I play Niv Mizzet. They're going to reload their whole hand here. So they get Bring to Light, Wrenn and 6, Assassin's Trophy. Okay. We untap and draw Tarmogoyf. Oh. Kill Wrenn and 6. Send out the Marching Goyfs. Hit our opponent for 3. The problem is they can probably Bring to Light for something very scary. Like, I don't know, Tybalt Cosmic Imposter, I guess, or a board wipe. Green, white. Bring to Light X4. Supreme Verdict. Okay. Well, I would like to draw another black source. I still think discarding that swamp was correct. We untap. Draw Thoughtseize. So lead on Thoughtseize. Let's see. Teferi, Veil. Bring to Light Assassin's Trophy. They drew another Bring to Light, because Niv Mizzet only gives them 1. Assassin's Trophy can answer Lily, but Bring to Light is much scarier. So take Bring to Light. Uptick Lily. If they Assassin's Trophy Lily, we get to fix our mana for Kroxa. Opponent discards a Teferi. So those are the 4 cards in hand, plus 1 unknown. Opponent plays Renin 6. So they can pick up a land, and they can either play Teferi, or they can play Assassin's Trophy. I suspect they play Teferi and then... Oh, they don't. Okay. It's interesting. We draw Inquisition. Well, cast it. It gives them something to... Well, you know what? Actually, no, I have to cast it first. This does let them Veil. I can also just Assassin's Trophy in response, and then I can't even... can't even activate Lily. So they crack Windswept Teeth. They get a Stomping Ground untapped. They Assassin's Trophy Liliana. We get a Swamp. Pass the turn. So, we're struggling against this deck, but if you think about it, our opponent's deck is effectively 5-color Jund, in that it's trying to play all of the strongest cards in all of the colors in an 80-card deck. And so that has its own downfalls, but versus Jund, this is a bad matchup. Because where we're a heavy mid-range deck, they're a heavier, more efficient mid-range deck, which is why we're having such an issue. That, and I'm probably keeping garbage hands and don't really understand the matchup. I mean, you know, go ahead and yell at me in the comments, let me know what I'm doing wrong, but that's my analysis of what's happening here. Alright, yep, I'm not beating that. Like, I don't want to mulligan to 5 just looking for Thoughtseize Goyf Lily, but maybe I need to be doing that. I'm not sure. It feels like we should just be curving out naturally, and we haven't been because I've kind of had some medium hands. I'll see you guys in round 3. Had to restart the client. Such is life. Alrighty. Round 3, here we go. I mean, we don't have anything to play on 1, but this seems like a decent hand, so I am going to keep. Did re-up on coffee, so hopefully that's good. Opponent starts Castle Garenbrig. We draw Kroxa. Play Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn. So we're probably against Amulet here, which is either, I feel like, a really good matchup or a really bad matchup, and I'm not sure which it is. Okay, opponent Ancient Stirrings. Let's see what they reveal. Colony Garden. Alright. They play Colony Garden. They get a 0/1. Pass the turn. Crack Bloodstained Mire. Let's get a Blood Crypt tapped. We untap. Draw Thoughtseize. I believe now is the time for Thoughtseize. Opponent has Summoner's Pact, and Soccer Tribe Scout. So take Summoner's Pact from them. Play Verdant. Pass the turn. We can actually play Renin 6 down tick to kill the Scout if we're worried. Opponent drew an Ancient Stirrings. That's a really good top deck. They get a Forest. They play Soccer Tribe Scout. Then they play a Growl Turf. Probably picking up Colony Garden. Yep. It's just the land they can get the most value of at any given point right now. Crack Verdant Catacombs. Let's get an Overgrown Tomb. We untap. Draw Kroxa. Play Renin 6. I probably should be trying to actually put threats on the board rather than taking the slower line. But my gut instinct says this is better for us than allowing my opponent to untap with an Exploration, which is effectively what Soccer Tribe Scout is. It's an Exploration that dies to creature removal and is not usable on the first turn it's played. Opponent replays Colony Garden. They're holding these 4 cards plus 1 unknown. Crack Bloodstained Mire. Let's get a Stomping Ground. We untap, draw a mountain, play a mountain. So I think I'm going to Kroxa plus Tarmogoyf. So force my opponent to discard. They discard Ghost Quarter. Then we play Tarmogoyf. So we need to start putting the pressure on. And I am going to ping a plant here. Just to help add to the pressure, really. If my opponent drew a Titan, they can play a Titan. They just play this Forest, activate Castle, and we're probably boned at that point. Well, that's not true. I could kill the Titan. I could ping the plant and then Liliana down tick to kill, but Doesn't feel very efficient. They play Talaria West tapped, which is kind of an interesting choice to me. We untap. We draw another Tarmogoyf. Alright, Goyftron, let's go. So, go to combat. Hit our opponent for 5. Now I can either replay Kroxa at the cost of everything in my grave, or I can play 2 Tarmogoyfs. I'm gonna play the Goyfs. Because we always have, like, Kroxa potentially, like, out of hand as a burn spell, maybe. 3 mana. Opponent plays Dryad. So they can play Growth Chamber on Colony Garden, play Colony Garden. They can bounce Talaria West, play Forest, and Transmute. But I think we've got them, just because we do have the Edict. Opponent picks up Colony Garden, replays Colony Garden. Yeah, so they changed what they were doing mid-play there. We untap, draw Swamp. Alright, pretty sure that gets our opponent. So we can play a Swamp, play Lily. Opponent casts Pact of Negation. Alright. Play Kroxa, force our opponent to discard. So opponent actually has to pay for Pact of Negation, and they're playing a version of Amulet Titan with Pact of Negation. Which is kind of interesting to me, because the last time I saw Amulet Titan playing Pact of Negation, they were still playing Hive Mind and, like, Summer's Bloom. I'm going to bring in the Fulminators, the Ashiok. I don't know if we need Brutality here or not. Fatal Push strikes me as pretty bad, and then I can cut 1 Lily and try it like this. I guess I should actually be playing Boil as well. I'll play Boil over an Inquisition. Now, I'm complaining about not having my 1-mana plays on turn 1, but I'm also cutting 1-drops, so... Which is it, Kano? Are you purposefully sabotaging yourself? We can keep this. Hopefully I wasn't muted through the last match. I just became paranoid because I got distracted. So we can lead on Bolt or Thoughtseize, depending on what my opponent leads on. If they lead on Soccer Tribe Scout, I'll kill it. If they lead on Amulet, I'll Thoughtseize. Alright, they Grazer. They also mulliganed to 5 on the play. They play Garrison, they pick up the Forest. Okay. I am going to lead on Thoughtseize. Just lands. Pass the turn. But it plays a Forest. Gets another Grazer. Nice. Puts in a Bog. Takes out our Thoughtseize. They're holding Talaria West, nothing else. So we untap, play Verdant Catacombs, fetch up a Forest, play Renin 6, pick up a land, pass the turn. Next turn we'll be fulminating their bounce land. Opponent plays Vesuva, copying a Forest. So they're still holding Talaria West. We untap, draw a Swamp, play Verdant Catacombs, fetch with Verdant Catacombs, get a Swamp, pick up Verdant, play Fulminator, nuke Garrison. It's a 2 for the price of 1 special. We just set them back like 3 turns. No, you're not supposed to play another one. They pick up a land. We untap. We draw Verdant. So play Verdant, fetch with Verdant, get a Stomping Ground, play Bloodbraid, cast Fulminator Mage. Oh, opponent, I'm so sorry. That's dirty. Pick up Verdant. Go to combat, hit them for 3, they untap, Ancient Stirrings, Simic Growth Chamber, they play Bog, taking out our Fulminators. That's fine. I mean, we don't really need to recast them or anything. We untap, draw Tarmogoyf, Bolt Grazer, play Verdant, fetch, Overgrown Tomb tapped, play Goyf. The only fetchable land we have left in our deck is a mountain. Pick up Verdant, go to combat. Attack for 3. Opponent takes 3. We're going to ult Renin 6 and have unlimited lightning bolts, which is a pretty glorious place to be. I mean, unless my opponent plays Dryad, Bounce Land, picking up Bajuka Bog, and then plays Bajuka Bog again. Damn it! They bog themselves to shrink the Goyf. Oh, you fool! We untap. We draw Kolagon's Command. The opponent is holding 1 card, and I don't know what that card is. Ult Renin 6. Play Swamp. Force our opponent to discard. Shock Dryad. Lightning Bolt Dryad. Go to combat. Attack them for 8. And other than next turn, we're going to be Kolagons commanding them every draw step to force them to discard, which is pretty good. Alright, opponent plays a Colony Garden. We untap. Draw Blackcleave Cliffs. Go to combat. Attack them for 8. This is the first time I've ever ulted a Renin 6. Ever. Alright, pass the turn. Stop on their draw step. Okay, command. They discard a Dryad. The game is over, along with the match. Nice. See you guys in round 4. Alright, we'll play first. This seems like a decent hand. So we can start by fetching up like an Overgrown Tomb, then play Renin 6. Opponent starts Flooded Strand. Verdant Catacombs. Overgrown Tomb. We untap. Draw Verdant. Play Cliffs. Play Renin 6. My opponent is probably blue-white control, and I really hope they don't have a Spell Snare. The last couple lists I saw only played one Spell Snare. They've got it. Unbelievable. Pass the turn. Alright, well we're just going to run out Liliana into a counterspell, because that's what we're here for. I could take a turn off, and try and Inquisition them first. Sure. Okay, opponent cracks Misty. They may be countering this. They are not. Path, Mana Leak, Field of Ruin. Okay, respect to my opponent for playing all old border cards. That looks swag as hell, even, even on Moto. Take Mana Leak, play Verdant, fetch with Verdant, get an Overgrown Tomb, tapped. I mean, we have the hand versus Mono Paths, the deck, that you would want. Opponent plays Field, we untap, draw Raging Ravine, play Raging Ravine, play Lily. We're getting fielded. I suppose they were going to field me basically anyway, and I probably should have picked like anything else, but get a forest, I guess. Uptick. I'm going to discard Wooded Foothills. Force my opponent to discard. They discard a path. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Snow-Covered Island. They are 1 mana away from a Teferi. Okay. Uptick Liliana. They opt in response. Alright. Their hand is Path, Teferi, Unknown. Discard a Swamp. They discard a Path. Play Mountain. Bloodbraid. Cascade. Renin 6. That's pretty good. Land Renin 6. Uptick. Pick up Raging Ravine. Opponent Paths Bloodbraid. Get a Swamp. Opponent's hand is Teferi, 1 Unknown. Pass the turn. Okay. Little Teferi, uptick to 5. We untap, draw Verdant, play Raging Ravine, uptick Lily. Opponent discards not Teferi, uptick, pick up a Swamp. Pass the turn. I mean, we have Liliana alt next turn. Opponent downticks Teferi, they're desperate to draw land. They don't. Okay, so they're gonna like unsummon Lily with a Cryptic. That's like their only play, unless they're really hoping we get greedy. But even then, we just replay Lily and animate Raging Ravine. Yeah, that's like the only thing they can do. Okay. We draw a Maelstrom Pulse, which will be nice next turn. Play a Swamp. Play Lily. Uptick Raging Ravine. Pick up Verdant. Uptick Lily. Discard Verdant. Opponent discards Mana Leak. Animate the Raging Ravine. Go to combat. Kill Teferi. Opponent's hand is once again Teferi, 1 Unknown. Okay, Teferi down. But if they play Teferi and uptick, we have Maelstrom Pulse or Animate Raging Ravine to kill him. They play a land. Like, I still think playing Teferi here is correct, but what they do with him matters. If they downtick, they have to downtick on Renin 6, otherwise they just lose him. They untap some mana. We untap. Draw a Lightning Bolt. And scoop. They just can't beat this. Too many Paths to Exile versus not enough creatures. So I want to bring in Boil. I think Fulminator is correct here. I could even bring in Collective Brutality. Fatal Push might hit a Colonnade, but almost certainly won't. Maelstrom Pulse is a little bit sketchy, because it's a sorcery, but I think we might need it. Opponent doesn't really... I'm going to cut a Tarmogoyf. That can't possibly be right, but I don't know how to sideboard. It's turn 1 Inquisition, but not a turn 2 Renin 6. I think I'm still going to keep, because the odds that we top deck an untapped land is pretty high. Opponent leads on Flooded Strand. We draw Kolagons Command. Play Blackcleave Cliffs. In the old Inquisition. Opponent's got Spell Snare, Aether Gust, Mentor, Path. Take Spell Snare. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play out a field. We untap. Draw Bloodbraid. Play Raging Ravine. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays nothing. We untap. Draw Bloodstained Mire. Aether Gust does not hit Liliana of the Veil, so we will be playing Liliana of the Veil. Let's get an Overgrown Tomb. Did they draw Mana Leak? I'm gonna be really mad if they drew Mana Leak. Okay, Cycle Shark Typhoon. I was gonna say, you top deck like the one card that can answer this after we intelligently played around with information we gathered. Pitch a Renin 6. Opponent discards Aether Gust. Pass the turn. Opponent is holding 3 unknown cards now. They play a Misty. Did they just run out Mentor? No, because we would Edict. Okay, we draw Verdant. Play Verdant. Uptick Lily. I'm going to discard Maelstrom Pulse. Opponent discards Path to Exile. Fetch with Verdant. We get a Blood Crypt untapped. Play Bloodbraid. Wheel into a Fulminator Mage. It's pretty good. Gonna take out that Hollowed Fountain. Looks pretty delicious. Opponent cracks Misty. They get a Hollowed Fountain tapped. Fulminator resolves. Nuke Hollowed Fountain immediately. Game over. Oh man, Blue-White Control has trouble with Stone Rains. Especially when they get mana screwed, but that's... Alright, see you guys in round 5. Alright, welcome to round 5. We're on the draw. We have no threats, value engines, but honestly, I think this hand is keepable. Opponent starts Glade Cover Scout. Alright, well, I'm glad we have Lily. We're going to Thoughtseize, because it's the only way we can interact with what our opponent is doing right now. Ethereal Armor, Hyena Umbra. Take Ethereal Armor, so we can try and minimize damage. Opponent is going to play the rest of their hand. We basically have to survive 2 swings. And if I let my opponent have 2 Ethereal Armors there, there's a really good chance we die. So opponent plays Windswept Teeth. Totem Armor does not protect them from Lily. Hyena Umbra, Ethereal Armor. They hit us for 4. We untap, draw a Mountain, play Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn. We'll be fetching up a Overgrown Tomb tapped. We have Lightning Bolt or Fatal Push if my opponent plays a Core Spirit Dancer. The only way that they can beat us is if they play another creature and we don't draw another Liliana. And it has to be another Glade Cover or Slippery Boggle. Considering the depth of their mulligan, I don't think it's that likely. Okay, they play a Windswept Teeth, so this is probably game over. Fetch with Bloodstained Mire, get an Overgrown Tomb. Tapped. We untap. Draw Mountain. Draw Tarmogoyf, play Mountain, sorry. Play Lily. Watch them have Mana Tithe. Last card in hand. Okay. Make them eat their Glade Cover. Oh, I forgot! The Dryad Arbor Mystical Tech! No! Oh, we're just dead now. I forgot that they played Fetch Lands and Dryad Arbor explicitly to get around Edict. Daybreak Coronet, we got a 1. They don't have Trample. They have to attack Lily. Unless they can get Trample or Protection from creatures, we go to 1. Oh, thank goodness. Uptick Lily. Empty our opponent's hand. Leyline of Sanctity in the main deck. Play Lily. Number 2. Keep new Lily. Now eat that Glade Cover, please. Like I told you the first time. Pass the turn. Opponent is now top decking in a deck that has terrible top decks. We untap. Draw Kroxa. Play Tarmogoyf. I actually should have upticked first in case they have Path. We're really lucky they didn't. They drew another Daybreak Coronet. Pass the turn. Opponent draws. Horizon Canopy. We are at 1. Alright. Opponent is going to save Horizon Canopy to get the double draw. Bolt our opponent. Untap. We draw K command. Uptick Lily. Pitch Maelstrom Pulse. Go to combat. Hit them for 6. Pass the turn. As soon as they crack Horizon Canopy, I'm going to K command. They discard Hyena Umbra. Alright. They untap. Alright. We got there. So we want Deglamor, Unravel the Ether. Probably Ashiok, Fulminator, I think. I'm going to cut Fatal Push because it has basically no targets. I have to keep in the Hand Hate because if they don't have Leyline, we need it. So I'm going to cut Bloodbraids because they're our most expensive card. Even though they're really good. Alright. No Lily, but I really, really hope they didn't keep a Leyline hand. If they did, I'm basically as good as dead. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Opponent mulligans to 6. No Leyline. They start Temple Garden, Glade Cover. Alright, we untap. Start Overgrown Tomb. Inquisition. Rancor, Daybreak Coronet. So take Rancor. Pass the turn. Next turn we Thoughtseize Daybreak Coronet. Opponent plays a Rancor, plays a Dryad Arbor. Hits us for 3. We untap. Draw Renin 6. Play Raging Ravine. Thoughtseize to take the card that will kill us if they can cast it, and they can. Pass the turn. So next turn we're going to have to play a Tarmogoyf as a blocker. Opponent plays a Hyena Umbra. Okay. Hit us for 5, we go to 8. We untap and draw Stomping Ground. They have Trample. I think it's worth playing Seasoned Pyromancer first, because we can discard a bunch of card types that power up Goyf, which can make it an actual blocker. So discard Pyromancer, Renin 6, I think. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Spider Umbra. They attack us for 5. We'll block 3 of it, take 2 and go to 4. There are no land cards in the grave, so we might be able to fog for a turn by just fetch landing here and playing Goyf. Get a swamp, play Tarmogoyf. Oops. The problem with not keeping that Renin 6 over the Fulminator is right here, though, because we need to be able to kill their Dryad Arbor. So we need to draw Lightning Bolt. Rancor. Pretty sure that's going to kill us. So we take 1 over the top if we do this, and go to 2. I need to draw exactly Lightning Bolt to win. Not to win, to stay in the game, I guess, but... We untap, draw Tarmogoyf. I guess that does technically work. Have to not mistap here. Play Tarmogoyf. Play Lily. No uptick, no downtick. Pass the turn. So my opponent has to top deck a land. They have to. Because if they top deck any more power and toughness pump, I think we just die. They also can't top deck a creature, otherwise the edict doesn't work. But it goes to combat. They attack us. Well, block and block. Hopefully they don't have a path. We stay at 2. Unbelievable. Oh, legendary top decks. Oh! Oh yeah, here we go. Legendary top deck. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work! Frickin' unbelievable. That's our fault. We should have won because I dumped the Renin 6 when I shouldn't have. Yeah. You know, bringing the Plague Engineer over that and that. Try it like this. I would like to play first. I will keep this. Really hope my opponent doesn't start Leyline of Sanctity. They didn't last game, but there's no indication that that's going to be the case this time. They may actually mulligan more aggressively for it because they're not on the play. But Boggles, sometimes awkwardly you have to keep certain hands because you have to mulligan to a threat frequently. Oh my god, fine. So, start Blackcleave Cliffs, and I'm going to Inquisition my own Thoughtseize out of my hand. Opponent gets to look at my hand. Yes, we have Maelstrom Pulse, but no, that's probably not going to matter. Okay, opponent has Boggle. We untap, draw Goyf, play Verdant, fetch with Verdant, get an Overgrown Tomb, untap, play Goyf. This protects us from Hyena Umbra or Spider Umbra. It does not protect us from Ethereal Armor or Griff's Boon. Opponent hits us for 2. Land for Pulse would be okay. Kroxa is medium. At least it does increase our damage. So play Kroxa. The problem is my opponent is holding all non-land cards, so they're not taking any damage from this, they're just losing a card. It's a 2-mana Raven's Crime. I mean, at least it increases the size of Goyf by a significant margin. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 4. They go to 14. They untap. They draw a card. Is this Daybreak Coronet? Unbelievable. We draw Renin 6, which lets me pick up the Verdant Catacombs, and then replay it. But if my opponent has a single other enchantment in their hand, we lose. And Maelstrom Pulse doesn't even win us the game. We're gonna have to top deck Liliana. So fetch with Verdant Catacombs. We'll get a Stomping Ground tapped. pass the turn. I might be able to buy myself time with Maelstrom Pulse. Maybe. Opponent attacks us for 5. They hit us down to 4. They play Suppression Field, so I can't Liliana them. Plague Engineer. I can Plague Engineer on Beast. I can't activate Renin 6. Okay. I have one chance at this. It's not likely that it works. But if we Maelstrom Pulse Daybreak Coronet, and my opponent does not have an aura that pumps power to kill us or toughness to prevent Plague Engineer from killing Boggle, we win. If they do, which is 90% of their deck, so we're probably just dead. Oh my gosh, we're going to 1. Alright, untap. Draw Lily. Play Plague Engineer. Name Beast. Go to combat. Hit them for 4. Now we gotta play Liliana, and then we have like an onboard edict. Oh, we can't even target them. Leyline of Sanctity Liliana doesn't do anything. We had to have Plague Engineer there. We don't have another Maelstrom Pulse, so I have to like double de-glamour to actually get that. Go to combat. Attack for 6. Hit them down to 10. Play Croxa. I should technically have left up red for Lightning Bolt in case my opponent plays Core Spirit Dancer, but they discard Leyline of Sanctity, so they don't take any additional damage. We have to dodge for 2 turns. Watch them Hornet Sting me. I have seen Boggles play Hornet Sting in the sideboard. That would just be the cruelest twist of fate. And for those of you that don't know what Hornet Sting is, it's 1 green instant, deal 1 damage to anything. It's not in color pie for green. It was actually like a mistake to be printed, but it would be hilarious if I died that way. Okay, hit our opponent for 6. I can actually pick up Croxa. Oh, hang on. I gotta make sure I use the right mode. Target player discards a card. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Pick up Croxa. Force ourselves to discard. Black, red, black. We're gonna discard Renin 6 to increase the power of Goyf. I think I had this play last turn, but I don't think it mattered. Just our opponent being lower on life technically does matter because now Croxa is lethal. It's not like they have a haste creature, but they could have like Land Wrath of God or something, or Land Divine Reckoning or something. Well, Divine Reckoning wouldn't do it, but Land Wrath of God. Oh, thank God. Oh, we should not have 3-1'd that league. Is Jund good? Yeah, Jund is good. If you're bad at playing Jund, you can still do reasonable with it, because it's Jund. So we open up our treasure chest, we get a Magister Sphinx, and a Face Reward, and 5 play points. I really don't have any suggestions for the deck tech here. It's just Jund. There are a lot of ways to build Jund. Even just looking for this deck list, I found like 3 or 4 different ways. But like, you want to make sure that you can curve out whatever you're doing. You want to make sure that you curve out. You want to go 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, or like 1 into 2 into 2 1 into 4, or that sort of thing. There's Luris Jund, there's Jund Death Shadow, there's this version of Jund, there's a different version of Jund that plays like Dark Confidant, which is like a traditional rock deck. Like, I don't know the merits of them, because like I said, this is my first league ever with Jund. So I don't have too much to say. I think the sideboard is fine. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. And remember, you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier. If you want to brew up some interesting decks and make some suggestions, please join the Discord link in the description below. We've got a bunch of fun people to hang out with there. It's the big crew that's always active on Twitch in my VODs. Lots of fun. You're all wonderful human beings. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!